know. Hello, team. Hello, everyone out there in Facebook Live land.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Friday. We're a bit late today.
We are. Yeah, we've been having a great chat, though.
We have.
We've been living the dream, really, as we do.
Always learning something from each other.
Oh, we do. And you're good enough to give me a book today. Be your best.
Yes.
Your best you or something.
Preview it for me.
Oh, I'm going to read it on the weekend. I'll give you some feedback on Monday.
Great.
When do you? I'll drop it. We'll work it out Monday.
Whenever you're finished. I'm still reading Kitty Flanagan's.
Good. Is she good?
Yeah, she's great.
Right.
Really good.
Now, big topic today: men's health. Now, both physical and mental.
Yes, big subject.
And
you're the man.
I'm the man, but
You're the
still,
man.
what's the female perspective on men's health?
Personally, from what I've experienced, guys tend to probably not act on symptoms and warning signs as quickly as they should. I'm also a nurse in a previous life.
Wait, are you a nurse?
I am a nurse. Well, back in my early days, yes. So always, actually, I was doing some research on this the last couple of days, just having a look at statistics, and it's very disturbing as far as premature deaths in men for preventable diseases and not getting help as quickly as they probably should have. And that's probably something that everyone has experienced. I know in my past I've had people in my life that have men in my life that have worried about certain symptoms, and after lots of encouragement and months of saying it's not cancer, it's probably just a hernia, go and see the doctor, and then it turns out to be a hernia. No. And things are obviously leaving it until a lot longer than they possibly should have. Sure. Yeah. So.
Well, Julie, someone very close to Julie did the same thing. If he'd got checked earlier, he'd still be alive now. So. Yeah. And it's things like bowel cancer. I guess there's some cancers that probably move quicker than others.
Definitely.
So in relation to physical health, I guess your message number one is, as a nurse, is get it checked early. If you've got any concern, get it checked early.
Probably on the symptom front, but my biggest advice is the lifestyle choices you make to stop getting a lot of the illnesses in the first place. But
so is that the normal stuff, like don't drink, don't smoke too much, and all that sort of chat?
No, look, I'm all for people having choices in their life regarding those things, but there's obviously food choices and making sure you're taking vitamins and exercising and all of those things.
Let's get out there and do a triathlon or something.
Definitely, and obviously because of my journey, people with obesity problems, there are solutions out there, surgical solutions to help you, which I have experienced myself.
In a very positive way.
And it's nice for people to know that there is help out there for men and women. Obviously, just recently experienced with a male member of my family having a surgery. Really good, yeah, really great recovery. And I've with my my contacts of people that I've known since I decided to have my weight loss surgery. I've met a lot of men and women that have had really good results. It's becoming more popular. My surgeon in the Gold Coast, he does 12 gastric sleeve surgeries a day now. So it's becoming...
This is normal shit now.
Well, it is. And I mean, obviously, with the obesity epidemic, it's much better for the health system to have people have a solution like this. One of my questions to you...
Holy shit, hold on a second, just before we answer questions.
We've got lots of people.
Greg, Mark, Adele, Ronnie, Craig from the Sunny Coast, Tony Noyes, all the way over there.
Nick,
he's a junkie. We love Nick.
Hi, Nick.
He's a nutter, seriously. It's so funny. Butchie, our local member, and John Lynch, which is really nice.
Hi, everyone.
So you got a question?
Yes. Just from a male point of view, what do you think it is within the male mind that stops you from paying attention to symptoms that you may get when you are unwell?
Okay, so that's a good question. And I'll give you an example from today even. So I rolled my ankle 6 weeks ago, and this is just a really simple one. This is just, paint a picture for you, I guess, and a bit of background. So this physio's sticking some pins in it, doing the acupuncture, and she says, it's a bad injury, let's get an MRI. I said, no, that's not. She said, why not? Because I said, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
And that's just...
A bit of bury your head in the sand.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think sometimes... I think that's one element of it that we actually don't really want to know. That's just my perspective, but that's a sporting injury. So if I was to if I was to get, say, a bowel problem, or if I felt a pain in like a pancreas or something like that, I'd probably put up with it longer than I should, because for me, this is only me and I can't speak for other men. I always have the rose-coloured glasses on, like I think, well, I get cancer, I'm a nice person, well, I wouldn't be cancer. So I wonder whether there's an element of it might happen to me. Men are 6 foot tall and bulletproof, like, I suppose.
Is there an element, though, of perhaps the macho type? If I admit there might be something wrong, other people will
think I'm a weak person.
Yeah, we think that I'm weaker, or.
And I think for some people that might be right. For me, it's probably not.
Thanks, Glenn.
Very follically challenged. How do you deal with that? Go to see Shane Warne. Yeah, wax. So I suppose is there a little bit of bravado in amongst it? Like, are you worried about what people think and being judged? Probably for me, not really, because I live my life in public anyway, and I'd probably tell anyone about it anyway. On a live, and you're most likely.
Yeah, you're not the type of person, I guess, that worries. You don't live by the rule that you have to worry about what everyone else thinks.
Yeah, probably not so much. In saying that, though, I think, so let's get really deep on it, because they're pretty superficial. Like if I was really worried about cancer or something like that, I'd probably go and get it checked out. Like I've had cancers cut out. Like I'm at the point now, I've only had 3 or 4, but I can tell what's a cancer and what's not. So I'll actually go and say, Doc, can you just gut this out? And go, yeah, that's a cancer, cut it out. So I jump on that really fast. I think for me personally, Ros, I think for me personally, the thing that I haven't gone and got checked out in the past would be mental health stuff. Like physical health, I'm okay with personally, and I think there's men out there. Actually, now that I think about it, I think you'll probably find let's say the physical and the mental. There's some people that would be comfortable addressing the physical and not the mental, and there's people that be comfortable addressing the mental and not the physical, right? So for me, I'm not comfortable addressing the mental. On physical, I'm okay. The mental stuff, that's where in life, and I know I've only ever suffered it once for a 300-day period, strangely enough, and I wasn't comfortable going and seeing about that, addressing that. So that is something. And it wasn't because I was worried about what people thought. It's because I was worried about not being able to cope with that myself, and like it's admitting defeat for me personally, like a mental illness. So I suffered from anxiety for 100 days when things went down, and like I got that bad that I couldn't function really, but I wouldn't have. Jules and Alison, my PA, said I couldn't even make a decision on what account to pay the phone bill out of, and that's what anxiety is. And I went to the doctor and I got the script. I literally got the script, but I never got it filled. And not that there's anything wrong with medication. So when I tell this story, I really put a proviso on this, that I agree with medication. I think you should get medicated for the health, right? I didn't, because I knew I'd talk myself into anxiety and I could talk myself out of it, basically. So I decided to do that. And from that point on, I talk myself out of anxiety, if that makes sense.
It does. I mean, a lot of people can do that, but I have a lot of people in my life that wouldn't function at all without medication. One of the disturbing statistics that I read when we were talking about having this is the subject for our live today was the disturbing rate of suicide being obviously being the the leading cause of death in younger people, and it is something that's obviously talked about a lot more publicly now, which is great. But I think a lot of people struggle, men and women struggle with asking for help or searching for help, and a lot of that I've found personally is firstly admitting that you actually have a problem. I've always been a really strong person, and for me, I've suffered a lot of anxiety over the years, and I had to learn what triggered that anxiety as well. I manage without medication, but I do have family members who, like I said, couldn't function without medication.
Right. So that's not a bad thing. It was my trigger, and I got to the point where I needed it, and I went and got the script, and that was the day that I turned. I said, well, you know what? I don't want to go down that path, and that was actually the turning point where I said, no, I've got to fix this shit up, and just got myself sorted then. So, and that's, like you say, not everyone's capable of that.
No, they're not. I had a bad car accident a few years ago and ended up with post-traumatic stress disorder. Yeah. I didn't realise there was anything wrong until somebody in my life pointed out that I had changed and was reacting differently to things, and I was, of course, not someone who thought they ever needed to see a psychiatrist or, I'm fine, I'll get through it. But I can't stress enough how much the, seeing a psychologist actually helped me.
Absolutely.
And, these people are professionally trained in what to do to help you. And obviously with the last 12 months of me having to heal through some pretty bad stuff, again, the Women's Health Centre have been great. And there are places out there that men can go as well. John Sorority runs some really great groups as well.
Men's inside men's. So there's men's groups popping up around the place now.
Just have a look what John said there.
What did John say? Oh yeah, so John's had some back surgery.
Wow, John.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe elaborate on that for us, mate, if you could, in the comment, and tell us what that meant for you. Adrian Bailey, Joe Guinea, good guy, Joe. Good surname too. Gillian Burke, Sarah Ford, Ben Norris, and Ann Webster. It's interesting because having sort of suffered through anxiety for a little while and understanding the symptoms of that, it's funny because my work now, believe it or not, working with teams, you probably wouldn't. There'd be a lot of people out there watching this, and a lot of people in the world that don't realise just how common a problem anxiety is in the world. It's massive, Ross. Seriously. Not many days go by when I'm really cranking that I don't come across someone that has some form of anxiety, and not that I'll become an expert on it. I'll become an expert on picking up the symptoms, and I've even brought books around it because of my work is so focused on helping people be their best, and that's one of the things that stops people from being their best. Fear, because that's what anxiety is.
Absolutely. Fear. And it's immediate, and you have a physical reaction to anxiety, and the heart racing, and your body starts to heat up, and you feel a physical reaction to anxiety, and it can be a lot of things. Anything can set it off.
And so for the men out there, if you are suffering with anxiety or even depression, so depression obviously is looking backward, like it's when you have sadness about something that's happened in the past, and anxiety is about the future. It's like I'm freaking out about what's coming. So that's sort of the differentiation. A lot of suicide is not so much anxiety; it's more of a depression. That's what leads to suicide. Whereas anxiety just leads to total chaos in your life. You just can't function correctly. And I think for the men out there, my message would be to go and actually find someone, like you said, to talk through this stuff, because the more you can talk through the challenges and the fears, the more you realise that they're actually, fear is false expectations appearing real. So, you can imagine your future in two ways, the worst or the best.
That's right.
And the more you think about it in the worst, the more that shows up. And,
I think getting that counselling from a professional or help in a group situation, having the ability to realise that you're not alone. Like you said, a large percentage of people do suffer from anxiety and depression, but there is definitely help out there, and they are professionally trained to help, which I have personally experienced. I guess as far as me experiencing anxiety from men, with the market that we've had, the real estate market that we've had over the last 6 years, and the financial pressure that's been put on people with the changes in the median sale price and people losing a lot of money. I've spent a lot of time counselling, sitting across the table from couples or men or women on their own, who have really felt the impact of the downturn in our market, and especially when there's outside influences that made them sort of think about making the decision to buy property and lost a lot of money. And I have seen some really awful situations with families and the pressure it puts on relationships and that sort of thing.
So what's your advice to people like that might be suffering through, let's say, financial, because there's no greater stressor on a relationship or sometimes a life than especially from a male who's got a very proud provider who can't now provide properly, whether it's a job downturn or a property downturn. How would you coach or counsel that male who's going through those challenges?
There's no easy answer to that. As far as financially, you need to obviously have as many conversations with your financial planner, your bank, support. Making sure that you're totally open and honest with the situation. Don't feel like you're a failure if we've had people who've had to hand the keys back to the bank. They've had their properties taken off them. They've walked out and left everything. We've seen some awful situations where we've had to turn up to meet a locksmith at a house to lock the house when the bank's taken over. And I always am personally affected by that, because there's always a story behind that, and the fact that it's happened so often in the last 6 years. And you need to, from a real estate perspective, obviously have an agent that understands and can be empathetic to your situation, but isn't clouded by the fact that they have a job to do. And if you have a relationship with somebody that can at least give you advice if you're not at the stage where you've lost your house. I always say it's the most important time to have conversations with real estate agents or a relationship is when you're not ready to sell. That's right. You need to be kept up to date on the market.
They need to know the market.
You do. And I mean, there's this perception, especially on a lot of the Gladstone forums or open discussions, that real estate agents can control the market. Well, if that was the case, we'd all be rolling in dough and own 100 properties and
fear and greed.
And we don't control the market. It's just we legally are bound to get the highest price for the owner, no matter what the market is. We have legal obligations and a lot of legislation to follow.
Absolutely.
But from a men's health point of view, you need to try to be open with the people close to you. Have discussions. Don't keep it in.
Stuff.
It's not shameful to be in that position. There are many people in that same position who are going through the same thing. And I've had clients who are just prior to retirement, and they were convinced by banks or financial planners to purchase 3 or 4 investment properties. They've lost all of them, and they'll be working till they're 95 to have income. So you need to be able to find out people in your life that you can trust and that you can talk to, because
can I just jump in there?
Yes.
I'll tell you why. And before I do that, Donna, don't be afraid to ask others how they are. It may seem daunting. Great call. Chris Peters, I've met Chris today. Great guy. Sean Noonan, Jaden Baker, WA, over in the Wild West, and Tracy Gravenmaker. Now, can I tell you something? That during that 100-day period when things went really bad for us and business fell over and the property market fell over for us, and so I've experienced all this. I would have been one of those people sitting across from the table from you. I've got to tell you, males out there, boys, seriously, rely on your buddies. I've got to tell you, my bromances that I had, I've got 3 or 4 really close buddies, and one was just sitting over there before. We saw him before.
We did.
And he was a rock, seriously. And he happens to be in real estate, and I'm going to give him a rap now, Spearsy, Mark Spearsy. Without Spearsy,
he's a good guy.
He's a beautiful man. I tell him I love him all the time, which is a bit gay, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. I tell him that all the time. Spearsy, Vici. Yes. Vici was there for us, and my dad was there for me. And Joey Guinea was there. And, without those people, I'm here to tell you, I wouldn't have got through, I don't reckon, without those buddies. And
I think it's important. Women tend to be more open to having really close relationships. And I obviously wouldn't have gotten through the last 12 months without the people that have carried me through. But it tends to be sometimes harder for men. And depending, you're a very open, personable person who, is you will open
for help.
You will talk to people and open. But there are a lot of men who think that they can't do that, and they don't have those people that are close to them. But they're there, and if you can find, you really are never alone. And I know people who unfortunately have taken their own lives, and that if they could hear the conversations about themselves after the fact and know how many people love them and would have been there for them had they opened up, if people can't sense that you're going through something, and and it's after the fact. If you could, reverse the clock, it's amazing to hear how missed people are and how much people want to be there for someone. So don't be afraid to open up and let people know what you're going through.
Absolutely. I think the common theme that's come through today, Ros, is that from a mental health perspective, even a physical health perspective, is ask for help, reach out, and do it. And don't be afraid, don't be shy, don't be ashamed, don't be embarrassed. It's actually okay to be open. What I find interesting is how men will maintain their vehicles, their houses, and their tri bikes. Their tri bikes, but not themselves bulletproof, and go out and seek the best mechanic. Believe that they
Wow,
just
John,
pull
that's
your head
so true.
Head out of your ass, go back. You're freaking awesome. Thus, end the rant from room 3. What he says, just getting more operations at the moment. Powerful words. Absolutely, Chris Peters. They are powerful words, John. We look after everything else. We don't look after ourselves. Why is that? And I think we've touched on it today. I think we've sort of said that you've said you think people might be embarrassed. I agree.
It depends on people's personalities, because obviously someone like you, who like I said, you're very open to talking to people. It's a natural thing for you, but there are people who find it difficult to do that, and we're both similar personalities.
How do you encourage them?
Well, I think like Donna said before, if you have people in your life that tend to be quiet and they don't find it easy to reach out, then you reach out to them. Make them realise that you're there for them. And obviously, it's really unfortunate we can't save everybody from being that type of person. But locally there's a lot of help here. Even for the men's sheds that are around, and the groups like I said that John runs, and there's counsellors, there's a lot of psychology help. I think it's finding what fits for you, because someone who might go to a psychologist may not be the sort of person that will open up to their personal friends about things. You need to find what you're comfortable with, because you're not going to click with everybody. That's right. I was fortunate enough to find a counsellor last year who I just click with straight away. Right. But I have spoken to people who've been, reaching out for help, and they didn't have that connection with that person, and they shut down and didn't source somebody else. Right. And you're going to have friends in your life as well that aren't going to be open. A lot of people find it really hard to talk about depression or anxiety or the fact that you need help. They're not the people to have those discussions with. I think I know 1,000 people in Gladstone, but there's only a handful of people that I knew that I could go to and talk about my anxiety and my situation. And like you said, you had a handful of people as well. Right. And if you're lucky enough even to have one person.
That's right. And I had a few, which is really cool. And they couldn't do enough. Can I just...
Michael's just...
Mick McCauley's jumped on, booked in October. Good on you. Go and have a chat to someone. Choppy Close has joined.
Hey, Choppy.
Guy Dugdale's joined. Can I just give one more bit of advice for people out there? Now, the reason that I know that I suffered through something for 100 days was because I stopped doing triathlon training on this day, and I picked it up again that day, and I just thought, oh, that's interesting. I wonder how long I haven't been training for. And it was 100 days. And okay. The message is that this. I wish I hadn't stopped. My triathlon coach, I spoke to him on day one and said, I'm stopping training today. He said, don't, man. He said, if you've got challenges, and he must have picked up. I probably told him, as I do, got challenges, and he said, look, don't stop because it will help you. And I went, no, I won't, man. Because I found that I didn't have the energy to go and train because I had so much other stuff going on mentally. And I just wish that I did. I seriously, if I had my time again,
it's a funny
I'd go
situation
and
though.
walk. I'd go and just move.
Yeah, and I think it's a funny situation because you have to think: is it your anxiety that's stopping you from doing that, or are you not doing it because of your anxiety? And I think after the fact, when you're feeling better, and I've noticed this myself, I look back into what I've been through, and I have to question, why I did a lot of things, why I didn't ask for help, why I didn't see the warning signs. It's easy once you're out of it to actually look back into it and go, I wish I'd have done this differently, or I wish I'd have sought help. So, I think just once you get into that different mindset, it's a different perspective from where you were a year ago or 2 years ago.
Hindsight's a beautiful thing, and I know now that still, like if there's been times over the last few years when business is quiet, or we get big home loan bills, or whatever the case may be, and you get the heart rate jumps up a little bit and stuff like that. And I now know that just don't live there. And this is probably another bit of advice for men, just from a male perspective, is that if you become self-aware.
Absolutely, mentally and physically, I think. Before we were talking about, early symptoms of things, and, there's so much they can do with any disease or problem that you have if they catch it early, whether it's a bung knee or, bowel problems or, skin cancers. Or,
that's right. I check myself regularly, seriously.
And I suppose it's one of those things too. Financially, it's really hard for a lot of people, try and find a clinic that bulk bills just to get something checked out. Like me, I avoided getting weight loss surgery because the surgeons I knew that were charging, say, $22,000. I sourced a surgeon on the Gold Coast who has a great reputation. At the time, he was not charging a gap at all, so my private health cover completely covered my surgery, bar $340 for my anaesthetic. So, that's not always going to be the case, but talk to other people who've been through what you're going through. There's forums even on Facebook if you don't want to share things. I'm in a very good forum, relationship counselling forum, where people, the lady that runs that is a counsellor who actually, and being in that group with other women that have been through, similar journey to me, and we're all at different stages. And once again, you look back at the people who are early on in their stage, and you empathise with them because you know exactly how they felt. And it's the same when you're talking about, any sort of health issue. I, had really sad news from, my parents not long ago. A lady that similar age to my mum, she's late 60s, and she found a lump in her breast. Family tried to convince her to get it checked. She left it. And she's died recently of breast cancer. By the time they convinced her to go to the doctor, over a year later, it was too late, and it was completely preventable. I sort of think, people have their time over again when they make those same decisions. And if you can pick things up early, physically and mentally, you've definitely got a lot more chance of getting help and, preventing it getting a lot worse.
Jeez, that's a great advice, because I relate everything in life to triathlon, because I just know it's just such an analogy for life. And like when you're running, when you're doing that last run and everything's hurting, you're always body scanning. Like you're always going, how are my feet? How's my groin? Because you don't want to get chafing. How's my underarms? How's my water consumption? Everything's a body scan. Every body scan, like literally, you wouldn't go minutes without a body scan. Like, how am I? And you don't know. You don't go, I'm going to do a body scan. You're just doing it naturally.
Yeah.
And I think if you translate that to life, do a mental scan occasionally and just go, where am I at today? And we just had a look at that book that you gave me, and there's a way that you can do that. So he gives you a couple of ideas on how you can rate your mental energy for the day. And I thought, now that is a great idea. Imagine doing that every morning. So we're talking about affirmations.
John's just said open 24/7, don't know all the answers, but I can listen. That's a great offer, John.
Oh, absolutely. And Chris Peters, it's integration, young men and women in the community need more mentoring, coaching on how to open up.
Absolutely. Socially, the message is toughen up, stop crying, etc. Still a long way to go to shift this mentality. That's so true, Chris. And I've got two 20-something-year-old young children.
And they never go on
young adults.
They never go on
children.
Talk about this stuff.
Well, I have a great relationship with them both.
They talk to you.
And
but they wouldn't probably talk to them.
That generation, I know a lot of their friends, and they tend to not be open about talking to things for those exact reasons. Chris, a lot of them, as Chris just said, a lot of them, it's harden up,
harden up princess,
yeah,
toughen up princess.
and it's sad that that there is.
Why do we still have that
level of I guess conversation I just had with you before about when I speak to young people at the PCYC who've had been a bit disadvantaged by their circumstances, and having people in their lives that are positive is probably not a regular thing. A lot of them, but having people that can talk to them and help them to see that it's not what happens in their life, it's how they respond to it. And we were talking about having older generation like us, we're getting old. That's right, yeah. As oldies, as being there for the younger generation, and obviously them being open to to receiving help.
And can I just say, even if you don't open up to people, let's finish because we've been going for too long. There's half an hour, it's just clicked over. Here's my advice, and I'll get your counsel on this one. If you're out there, my heart to everyone listening, if you do nothing else, if you've got anxiety, if you've got depression, if you've got whatever, if you don't want to talk to people, just be around the right people. Just get around someone, find the most positive person you know, and just go and be around them. You don't have to talk. You don't have to do anything. Just be around them because energy is contagious. Is that okay advice?
Oh, absolutely. Like I've just said, my counselling that I've just been through 12 months ago, and that was her advice to me. You're going to want to just curl up in a ball and not want to get out of bed. She said, force yourself, just get done up and go out and be around people who love and support you, and that's what's carried me through the last 12 months.
And not even love and support. You've said,
and that's said with love.
Just be around people that are happy.
Yeah.
Because it rubs off.
Absolutely.
And if love and support's even better.
It's bad for you.
If you're around, excuse the language, I'm going to be blunt. If you're around shitheads, if you're around shitty people, guess what? You're going to become a shithead and you're going to become shitty. So be around happy people.
I think we need to just let everyone know when we finish the live, I think we will just post the Lifeline phone number just in case.
Do you know what it is?
I'll look it up just to make sure if anyone does need help that they know that they've got Lifeline's phone number. I encourage you to call them or get alternative help.
Lifeline number.
And please make sure that you do contact somebody if you need some help.
If you need some
help.
It
is now.
Or contact us or contact John.
Definitely.
Reach out because we're here. Ros and I are good talkers and we're good listeners too.
We're really good talkers. We're getting longer every week, so we're going to need to cut it short.
Maybe we're not great listeners. We could be though. You know what? It was the best compliment. Someone gave me the other day, said, geez, you're a good listener. Oh, really?
You were surprised by that?
I've never been called that before. All right.
Thanks for joining us again. And we will see you next Friday with another subject.
Yeah, we'll have it. What's another? And feel free, team, give us a good one if you want to give us a great one. We'll come up with another deep and meaningful topic. Actually, there was something else in that book there that we said we could do a live.
We'll have a look at the book.
We will. All right.
And thanks for
everyone for tuning
affirmation today. It was great.
Oh, yeah. About love.
Yes.
Self-love.
Yes.
So relevant to me.
Yeah, very,
love yourself.
very relevant. Right, have a great week, everyone. Bye.
See ya. Stuff.